Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. I said I was going on vacation yesterday. Oh, head fake. Got a couple more here for you before the end of the week. Fairness to the team makes a lot of sense to head out on sort of a vacation on like a Friday or something. So we'll do. Just make sure you. Okay. We'll do a couple more of these recaps here. One tomorrow, one today, one tomorrow, and then I'll officially take my week vacation. So just an FYI on that. Dashboard's starting to actually come together. We were actually having some interesting conversations in the daily brief today about dashboard data. Still very much beta. We're building it out, but I am liking what I'm seeing here. We got a fast sell signal here from the breadth indicator on the S&P 500 here, which I do kind of like because we have talked lots about this recently that we've basically dead cat bounced our way right off the bottom back up top, came really close to hitting AB equals CD objectives, but are we near the end of this move? We are getting awfully close to May, and you of course know sell in May and walk away. So on balance, actually that I like what I'm seeing. It's sort of giving us a heads up already that, hey, the market's pretty overbought. Be careful here. And, if we start getting MEs and stuff like that, then, we're probably getting ready to head back down. As I had said there a moment ago, Julian, actually, I don't know whether I said it or not, but Julian, one of our TRI principals, comes on the call or daily brief video we do on the site daily, Monday to Friday. It was about an hour and a half today. Complete rundown of what he's seeing in the market and positions that he's taken in the gold and the oil and the stocks and Bitcoin and all that kind of fun stuff. So it was really refreshing to get Julian's take on the market here this morning. As well, if I'm not mistaken, while I'm on vacation, we might actually get a special treat. You guys on YouTube, you might actually get some video content from Julian while I'm gone, but no guarantees from the management. Obviously, Julian's got a lot of stuff on the go right now, but if they can fit it in, maybe we'll get a special treat while I'm gone. As I always like to do for you guys over on YouTube, just a simple overview kind of comment about the market. First and foremost, what the hell is the US dollar index itself doing? Sort of a fear, greed proxy, if you will. Got to sneeze. Hold on a second. Where are you, sneeze? There you are. Hey, only 2 today. That's not bad. We have talked recently about AB equals CDs taking us up to test the top end of the recent sort of consolidation range. A bit of a doji day today. Stocks kind of jumping all over the place here this morning. In fact, actually, Julian was talking about strapping on some shorts there on that rally peak. So we'll see how that goes for him. As I look at this right now, it's almost like the market started out going, oh yeah, we're fearful, oh, maybe we're not so fearful. Okay, well, now we're just sort of parked right back at the original breakout level. Considering it's a Thursday, we do have options expiry coming up tomorrow. My hunch is there's probably some finagling going on around price action here. Long and short of it here, a bit of a conservative sort of tone to the market, if you will, and then also too maybe that kind of the fact that the US dollar is moving up here, maybe that sort of corresponds with our breadth indicator as well. No real new signals here today. Still thinking US dollar index is trying to push its way up into this sort of 101 area. We'll see how that goes. Only time will tell. Risk on, risk off, as we sort of said there a moment ago. Stocks, I'm getting the feeling like we are trying to find some sort of top up in here. If anything, I think I've talked to you guys about this, but a theme that I'm seeing recently in the market, which of course pisses off all the old timers in the stock market to no end, is sort of a correlation between the stock market and something like Bitcoin. And I actually still think that Bitcoin is leading the market. So Bitcoin had to go through a bit of a consolidation period here over the past, what is that? I guess the past week or two. We do know that halving events are coming up here, so not a big surprise. We're still pushing higher here in the short term on the corn, which is encouraging. And you can see how the stock market, kind of following this very back and forthy consolidation, well, it's basically doing exactly the same thing. Just like I said, Bitcoin's kind of leading the market here. I wouldn't be surprised if the stock market still has to sort of flounder its way around here through that options expiry kind of idea. And you can see the corn is pointing higher here. My hunch is probably stock market's going to work its way a bit higher here once we get through this consolidation window. Maybe US dollar index rallies back up top kind of thing, and then starts heading back down, and then we can start thinking about that follow-through move on the stock market. Where is your sheet here? Where are we? Nope, that's not that one. Where the hell was I? Over here somewhere. I thought, yeah, here it is. Okay, so looking for more consolidation. Don't, exactly like the corn. Remember we had that wide sort of sideways base. Were we going to M out and fail? Or was this going to be a base that holds and we were going to work our way higher? Considering we're in April, sell in May and walk away. And then our next big pivot is the end of June. I had kind of thought that maybe the end of June would be our rally peak. But seeing how fast this is happening, I'm actually a little worried that maybe our shoulder is going to come in a little too fast here. Also notice too, probably actually a good reference is probably that high right there. You see how that sort of sets up this big range. So actually, you can see we're getting awfully close to the end of this move. And that breadth information that we looked at just a moment ago, it kind of corresponds with that. If we think about what's going on in the broader economy, of course, COVID and all the sickness and stuff, I'm also hearing, too, that the big stimulus packages that the U.S. Congress had passed, they basically almost spent all that money up. So we're going to probably see like QE3, QE4, QE5, QE6, QE7. When does it end? And, of course, everybody cue the money printing machine. Brrr, right? Bitcoin, $100,000 coin. Woohoo! Cost you $50 to buy a loaf of bread. Oh, shitty. Oh, well. Anyway, point of the matter here is it does make sense to me that we're starting to run out of steam here on this dead cat bounce in the stock market. Has oil finally found its bottom? Who knows? I mean, what a mess. The problem here is that oil is very, very much, in my opinion, a 20th century story. I think I've told you repeatedly, after we got that seasonal failure here where the market just couldn't find a bottom, I've lost interest in oil. Having said that, I do understand, and we got a lot of traders on the site. Traders got to trade. There are, like I had one little oil stock that looked interesting before. You can see the bottom. You can see the volume coming in. You can see the W and OBV and RSI. I mean, if you want to trade this, great. There's probably some pretty good money to be made here, but I'm just not interested in oil anymore. And if I have money to spend, I would much rather go and spend my money on things like Bitcoin and, even crypto stocks and stuff than going and investing in oil. That's just me. It's just who I am. Remember, at the end of the day, your trading plan and everything that you do, it has to fit with you. That's why this whole idea, buy my newsletter, follow what I do, and you're guaranteed to make money, that usually doesn't work. Because you're not that person. You might see things slightly different. What you have to ultimately do, and again, had great experience with Julian through today's daily brief going through this, where Julian was very good at losing money when he first met me. We sort of got him to the point where he understands trading plans and risk management, and then he had to go through the process of working through all the various different technical analysis tools that are available out there in the world to find sort of 3 reasons that fit for him, and then away we go. But everybody has to go through that process. You just don't have any choice. Anyway, what am I saying about all this? I'm saying that oil could be bottoming here, but I just don't have any interest in participating in oil. You might argue that after that nutso insano face rip down, Market's completely flushed out. All the weak hands, they're gone. So inside bar reversals, could we rally back? Sure. And interesting too, if we just do a cute little fib off of this range, notice this high, this funny little gapping high, and that's 38.2. So my hunch is probably what oil does over the next little while as it comes up, then carves out like a head and shoulders pattern. And, if COVID calms down and sort of, the Russians and the Saudis and the Americans all make peace, blah, 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 you can see the trade's probably going to develop down the road here. I would also caution you very much, though, that oil is, remember I used to be a commodities broker, and one of the classic sales pitches was, you buy your unleaded in the middle of February, you sell it in the middle of May, you made money 9 out of the past 10 years. Obviously, this is not going to be one of those 9 out of the past 10 years. But I could definitely see if there's any kind of counter-turn rally in here, those oil boys, they're going to be taking profits there into May. So just, be cognizant of that. And like I said, risk on, risk off. At least they're coming back here a little bit. But this market and all the sort of conversation about risk in the oil business, it's still way up in the air. And I don't, frankly speaking, for a guy like me, number one, I'm not interested in oil. But if I was interested in oil, really as a professional, I got to let things settle down. Let's start seeing some W's. Maybe we get, momentum divergences through these kind of markets. Could be. Now we got to wait for the W's to start coming back. So with that said, there's sort of your risk on kind of conversation. I think they're kind of almost undecided right now. And, what a surprise. The US dollar index is basically painting a doji, indecision. If we look at the risk offers, funny to see this silly little bond trade just keeps working. Really nothing's changed here, just big hurry up into nothing. I suppose if we fail through yesterday's lows, that'll paint a nice little fractal top there in the bonds. And it probably means we're done here. But as it stands right now, you can see today's a bit of an up day. So, this thing's still pointing up, and it's pointing up into this area up here. So, just hurry up and do nothing. And interesting to see our gold here. What a fascinating conversation this has been. You can see we had like cute little heads and shoulders. This is off of lower time frames. So it seems to have enjoyed a pretty nice bounce. We had talked a lot about this inverted head and shoulders and how important this level was going to be. And I think I showed you they pulled just a classic SFU, FU move there against that key support level just the other day, right? Against these lows right there, doink, and that basically marked your bottom. Total liquidity hunt, blah, blah, blah. And I actually don't mind the idea of thinking about this kind of head and shoulders kind of talk. The only problem here is, of course, this isn't a moon kind of setup. This is just basically saying we're going to go here to here and then just replicate that. So that just very simple formation is projecting 1771. We haven't quite hit that level yet. I don't see any reason why I can't hit that. And really, I guess the way I would look at this is if those bonds do start breaking out to the upside, if the stocks do start rolling over, then my hunch is you're probably going to see gold catch a bid, and away we go back to the upside. So, as it stands right now, I think, reload zones, heads and shoulders. Let's watch how... Remember we had that original price gap right up there? Remember we talked about that a few days ago? So it's really interesting to see that they rallied it up into that gapping level again, and somebody whacked it with a whole bunch of selling. So, my hunch is she wants to work up into this area. Can she just launch higher here? Market do any old damn thing it wants, I suppose. Well, let's move Brandon over there. And, you could argue that boom, 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 that's a 3-bar fractal. So that's actually a momentum buy signal on a break of that high there. It's not a trade I would take, but nonetheless, it is what it is. So hats off to anybody who was able to sneak in off of that test of that low. And they did pull a little FU too to add insult to injury. you're feeling a little bit better too. And what I also noticed too, and it's just, it's such a sad commentary on the stock market. If you pull up these leveraged ETFs, they've gone and rolled this thing back 10 for 1. So now this thing is now back to $68 a share. Just 2 days ago, it was down in the $6 a share area. So it looks to me like they're setting the trap up again. They'll rally it back up here, with that gold pointing higher, fill in all the gaps, then roll it over and take it right back down to single digits, and then reorganize it and play the game all over again. So, I mean, yeah, there's a cute little double bottom there, and then there's also probably a cute little bot continuation setup. And you can see the moves to the upside, huge gaps here that need filling in. Do I have a trade setup here? No, this isn't something I would touch, but that's fine. It is what it is. All right. So risk on, risk off. I'm getting the impression that risk off is catching a little bit more of a bid here today. We'll see how that goes. Interesting sort of aside, I have noticed a lot of small stocks are moving up here quite a bit. And here's our Russell 2000 versus the Dow study. And again, we'll know that we're rip-roaring bull again if we can break out through this W right now. Still stuck in that range. It's nice to see small caps catching a bit of a bid here relative to the large caps today. This VFF is a good example. We went and bought in off the double bottom breakout, and thing is it gapped higher here today. So this is a good example of this. Could we come back down, fill in these gaps as sort of the big stocks calm down here a bit? Sure. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, heading over to the corn, I'm seeing lots of fun bullish activity here today. I did put out crazy tweets yesterday to the effect that, holy bejesus, get ready, folks. This could get crazy. This was sort of my most recent rant here. It was interesting, caught quite a bit of traffic here on social media. I have no idea if this is a bull flag or not, but it did kind of just jump out at me that we had this big down move, and then we started to sort of slowly crawl our way up, and, big railroad track, I mean, not really railroad track, but candle body low, bang, 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 bang. It's doing this quite a bit recently. Bang, there's another one. And it's kind of a rising slope. What does this actually, I mean, there's probably some people out there like, Brian, well, this is a rising wedge. Is it a textbook flag? Not really. But what I've often noticed, especially considering that this was a really important level here previously, and also all these key lows. Remember we talked about Colin's buddies up here. That was Mountain Man. It was a 3 drives level. So we kind of thought that the market needed to get up in here anyway. And, looking at our RSI study, this actually doesn't look bad. We had the little M's that sort of tell the bulls to cool their jets. Then the market comes down. Doesn't really M out here very well. You can see the yellow line would have been my oh shit line. And then we just go and consolidate inside this sort of wedge pattern here. And this, of course, was from yesterday. So when we look at today, was that it? No. Up we go. Actually, I don't have the RSI study on here. It'll be important, I think, that the market actually close the day solidly above sort of this 7,500 area. And the sad thing is, you're probably going, hey, that's a buy signal. Unfortunately, I don't think so. Our rule is that we actually want to see a W on the other side of this trend line to actually issue a buy signal. So I don't know whether it's in your best interest to really, get too excited about buying, and especially if price jumps up all the way up above, say, 7,500 or so. Maybe just cool your jets and wait for some consolidation or something if you're going to try and sneak in there. But looking at that chart right now, so you can see there's the breakout. We're now sitting 75.24, right? Is that where we are? 75.36, beg your pardon. So be super important from a longer term perspective that we close out here. And then what I'd actually like to see is a nice little consolidation to set up that next move higher. But, you know, interestingly enough, we have been talking about this for quite some time. There was a very realistic possibility that we could work our way up here to 10, 11,000. And a lot of people, you know, were very critical of me of saying things like this. I mean, I'm not calling markets, but, you know, spade is a spade, these crazy chaos levels. There's now two 4669s sitting up top and this 877 sitting up here. And of course, this is exactly what price action should do if we're following along this expanding wedge. It sucks because on the other side of this, be careful. In the short term, as we're heading into that halving event, I still think on balance we're doing this study. You know, they always say history never repeats itself, but it often rhymes. In this particular case, I was kind of thinking that initial push was this bar here. We kind of stalled out against those highs. We sort of said, you know, some TRIers were hedging positions here. I think actually Julian said he took some hedges off here, but on this blast off to new highs right up top here, he strapped some new ones on. And, you know, trader's got to trade. He's doing his thing. I'm feeling pretty positive about the direction Julian's heading in. And, of course, his account balance is going up quite nicely. So, you know, hats off to Julian. The problem that I have with this, of course, is we're running out of time. We should have expected about 20, 25 bars ahead of the halving event. Big, nutso, insano, blow off topio. And that's what we're getting. I would, to be perfectly honest with you, I'd like to see this get up a hell of a lot higher. Because, like you see on here, once this sort of pre-halving pump is done, then I'm going to be tempering my enthusiasm, people. Please understand that. Basically on course. I was actually quite pleased to see we broke to new highs. Still think Mountain Man's got to be hit, 79 and change. 127 twos, 78, 74. I don't see any reason why they can't be hit. It's just a question here is what happens once this move is done. And what I'm worried about here, of course, is if we pull up our momentum indicators. You can see our MACD histogram is nowhere near new highs. Here we are painting new highs, and you can see the MACD histogram just looks like poop. It's nice to see we are getting a bit of buying pressure and some volumes coming in here, so we're not going to get any signals that the bulls have fallen asleep here, but I really would like to see some serious buying here. And then remember our RSI study. Remember we had said earlier, if we had gone and M'd out here, that would have been a second M, a yellow M. Oh boy, all hell is going to break loose. But that's not what happened. So we've gone and W'd here. Woohoo! Nice little wedge breakout too. You always have to be worried about when you get these kind of wedges. Do we just come up, then go like that, and then start heading back down again? But no divergence as it is now. Now remember, this is a daily chart, so we have to let the day actually finish. Who knows where the hell this is going to finish today. But if we finish here today, things are looking pretty good. And we don't have any outright, sell signals coming in. And if anything, what we have to do now is watch for our first little M to sort of tell us that, okay, bulls, you got to cool your jets. There's no sign of that anywhere in sight right now. So for the time being, the bulls still got the ball. So that's good. You know, like I said, pre-halving pump. This is pretty much what I think should happen here. To be perfectly honest with you, I want to see more pump, man. Come on, let's take it up to 9 Gs here. Why are you wasting my time? There's that W in RSI with the Bollinger Bands, and you can see how they've squeezed in here nicely. So Sjord's rule would be that if we break out through the top and then start coming back into the band, that's probably the end of the move. So you can see we haven't even broken out through the top here yet. You can also see W's coming in on Willie, and Willie isn't even stupid. So we could see a bit more here. And like we said, volume-wise, we were kind of concerned about this falling volume pattern, but we had a nice little chunky bar there that broke that down move. If anything, like I said earlier, what we want to see is more. Break out this high, right? So far, it's about 10 to 11 on the wet coast. This day will come to an end in about 6 hours for me here. We've done 12.125 so far, 12.13. What we really want to see is we want to see more than 15.72 traded. So all you YouTubers, go out please right now and buy 3,000 Bitcoins so we know that this thing is indeed rocking and rolling and buyers are buying. All right, I think that basically summarizes the message to the public here today. I always like to pop in and just take a quick boo at how the poop coins are doing. It was interesting how yesterday we actually did go and double bottom. Actually, not yesterday, today. Through this 573.40 level. You can see we hit a high here of 600. So there is a double bottom. If you wanted to take this double bottom as W, looking for a move up to 800. Geez, that's a nice 15% return on your money. And of course, leverage traders have some fun with that. I might even suggest on something like this, you could even just simply say, look, if we close back below this trend line, maybe just walk away. But as it stands right now, bot levels, this is too lows. Remember, you as a professional, you're going to have to just sort of get used to what works best for you. I love triple bottoms. I just find that triple bottoms work so awesome. So I don't know whether I would be inclined to take this. Maybe if we had a little quiet inside bar tomorrow and then a test of these lows and then an inside bar to give me those 3 lows, I might consider it. But you can see there's a nice little inverted empire working there right off of the break of this trend line. So, it is what it is. Caveat emptor. This to me is not a sell signal. There's nothing to be bearish about here. So considering what we're expecting out of Bitcoin, I think that makes sense. And then if we look at the big boys, all 3 of them, Ethereum pushed to new highs today. Woohoo! Awesome. I'd like to see Charlie get his act together here. You can see Charlie's just continuing to coil. Maybe we can get a nice big blast off on Litecoin all the way up to the 200 period MA. Little concerned about the signs of divergence building here. I think I mentioned this earlier. That's, if anything, that's a warning sign. It's not really any sell signals, nothing really to do, but it's sort of suggesting, hey, you know what? We're getting a little long in the tooth. Momentum's not pushing to new highs. If this really is a bull, push those momentum studies to new highs, please. Thank you very much. Okay, I think we'll leave the free offering at that today. Sure hope you helped. Got a little special treat because, frankly, I thought I was going to take off the end of yesterday. But I decided, what the hell, stick around till Friday. So you get to hear a little bit more of me today and a little bit more tomorrow. And then I'll take my week off. All right, everybody. Have yourselves a great day. All the best. And bye for now.